anomaly detection. Okay, so this means, so in the data what you give, so you have to find out like if there is any anomaly in it. Okay, something like this. So let me tell you some example. So in case if let's say, so you have some example like this. You have a group of class, and these are the examination marks for those students. So what you have is like some guy, some people got like out of 100, some got like 30, 30, 50, 55, 60, and like only one guy got 100. Okay, so like let's say it's the same student, like same student has got like if you take like multiple conducted to a same student. So in some classes like you got like 55, 58, 60, 65, and maybe something like and next time he got like only 50, and in one test he got 100. Okay, something like this. So when you plot a curve, okay, of this 55, 58, 60, 65, and 50, so this is okay, and in one test he got like 100. So if you plot this, do you find like maybe in next again like he has conducted like next test where again he got something like this. Okay, so and next tests are again like here. So do you think that this is something like he might have like this is quite abnormal compared to his previous results, right? So this point, so it such kind of things like what they do is like they treat it as anomaly. Okay, it's an outlier, you can say it's outlier rather than anomaly. Maybe it can be because like he has the marks entered are wrong, or maybe he has the way he has done like maybe some issue with the process what he has done, maybe he has cheated. There can be many possibilities, but this is one thing. Okay, so what it is done is like we have to identify these kind of anomalies. So here it is very clear. So one, let's start with like each steps. So one of them is with the standard deviation approach. So what will be done is you plot like all the different curves. So you actually plot the distribution and check like if it is Gaussian. So in case if it is Gaussian, which means like you how you plot Gaussian is like in the sense how many are within 50, how many are within 60, how many times it is within 70, how many times it is 80, something like this. You make parts. Okay, so here in our case like many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are within five within 50, and actually you can draw few more like within 40 there is like 3, something like this. So and within 60 there is only there are 2, something like this. Okay, and similarly there is only one point at this level. Okay, it is like this. So what we can say is like what we do is like if in case if your data is following a Gaussian, then you can do a subtraction of mean, like you calculate mean, you calculate standard deviation, and your mean plus or minus 3 into standard deviation, you take a cutoff. Okay, so which is somewhere here. So and you say like what are coming outside than this. Okay, those are outliers. So in that case like what will happen is this 100 will surely be outside this distribution, and it will become an outlier. So that is about that is one way to do it. So but this is very basic, and most of the times like your data won't be Gaussian. So then there is one more concept like which was based on IQR, like percentile based. So where what you do is like you calculate what is a 25th percentile for the data. So how you can implement is these you can again implement just dot mean and using dot std, like standard deviation, you can get these values. Okay, similarly we have to calculate the data at 25th percentile and 75th percentile, and like take those data points. That you can do it in NumPy by using that np dot percentile of data, comma 25. If you put, like, it will be 25 percentile. Similarly, if you put 75, it will be 75 percentile. Okay, so something like this. So, and you calculate IQR. IQR is a difference between this 75 percentile and 25 percentile data minus 25 percentile data, and this you call it IQR. And your cutoffs will be something like this: lower cut minus 1.5 times IQR, and similarly upper cutoff is 75% plus 1.5 times IQR. So using these cutoffs, again, like you have some, if you plot your data here, okay, so some data is here, some data is here, and these cutoffs will actually, these are these two lines, okay. So out of these lines, if any data has come, so that data we can call it outlier. This is one more method. So apart from these, like these are like basic statistical based methods, like which we can use. I think these are already discussed about these in during earlier sessions. So apart from this, there are also machine learning models with which you can identify these anomaly. Okay, so let's discuss about that. Like there is one more thing called LOF, which is like local outlier factor. So what this does is, so it will try to find out the neighborhood points. So just like how you do it in k-means, right? So let's say you plotted some curve and like plotted your data, and you find like all the points lie in this region mostly, and there are few points outside. Okay, so this LOF will actually identify if there are any few points like which are not surrounded by many neighbors. Okay, so let's say take this point. So if you take some radius, so within that radius there are like so many number of points. So but if you take this point, if you take some radius, there is no, there are no points, or maybe there is only one point, something like that. Okay, so similar to this as well. So there are no points. So such kind of scenario, it what it will do is, like, each point it will search how many neighbors are there, and depending on that it will identify it as an outlier or not. So this is the technique what will be used like for LOF. So similarly to LOF, there are many other, something like isolation forest, which is like similar to our decision tree classifier, like where you use and like random forest, where you use multiple trees and finally classify your point into like various classes, right? So something like this, like how we have done in decision tree classifier, the same similar thing will be done in isolation forest, and it will try to classify, means like I identify the outliers by grouping like more into one class, and very few abnormal things into one different class. Okay, this is proven like actually in practically this works very good. And like most cases these two are very basic, and we call this as 3 sigma method. So this is very basic way to find out the anomaly, but this usually doesn't work most of the times. So, and even IQR, like wise, like it's not so great. So okay, so apart from that, there are like some methods like LOF, which is also fine, which works like decent, but isolation forest works very well. Okay, so this is one more thing. I am not going into detail how each of the function works. Just like you have to know, like there are like functions like this with which we can detect anomaly. Okay, so similarly we have discussed about SVM, right? Similarly there is one more thing like one class SVM. So what this does is, like previously, if you can remember, uh, if it is only SVM, what we have done is like what we try to find out the margin which will classify this and this boundary, right? So this is what we have done in case of SVM. So, but one class SVM in the name, we have like only one class, right? But if we are finding an anomaly, it means clean object, like clean data and anomaly data. So something like this. So what we do is we only train this model here. So and you have some outliers at this level. What it should be doing is it should find out this margin instead of the whole margin. Let's say it should find this margin, and it should like for any kind of decision boundary, right? Like what we have, like it should group like all the clean data like at one point, and it should be able to differentiate between anomaly and non-anomaly data. So like one class SVM also does very good job in that. So for that, what we have to do is we have to only train with like clean data. Let's write it as non-anomalous data and anomalous data. So non-anomalous data is this and anomaly data is this. So instead of like having it this kind of boundary, what it will have is try to have a like let's say these are your data points. It will try to find a circle like kind of radially. It will try to find a boundary this way, and it what it will do is outside these circle, so whatever point comes, those are anomaly. So that is how like one class SVM will do. So what it will do is like it will try to find your theta not x, like you can say take it anything. So is it greater than or so it should be less than or equal to some radius r. So from the center take r. So with this radius, if it is within this range, so this is not an anomaly. So if it is greater than r, then it's anomaly. So that is how actually like these are done. Okay, so okay, so I think we have discussed about enough methods. So but in reality, like how we'll actually do it? Okay, what we do is like there is a process for it. So first we'll only train the model. It can be any model. It can be LOF, A1 class SVM, isolation forest. It can be anything. But what we'll do is we will train only with non-anomalous data. Let's call it like clean data. Okay, so we will only train a model with clean data, and with this data what we'll do is, and finally we can have in test, we can have mix of like clean data, and we'll also means this can be like we can do a split between the train and test data. We can use it for and the other data, means like it can be mix of clean and anomaly data. So actually what we'll have is during this case we won't be knowing, like we'll be having just the data. We won't be knowing, actually we don't have a label that is this is clean data, this is anomaly data, something like this. You will just have something some numbers like this. Okay, you have some numbers like this, out of which you have to find out by yourself whether it is anomaly or clean. So I will give one very one practical example for this. So what we have is like, let me give one example. So there is a kind of a like maybe in car or okay in a plant, okay, in a manufacturing plant. Let's take an example of a manufacturing plant. So in that manufacturing plant, what you have where you have some sensor data like going like this, and in case what will happen is your data, your sensor will like by default, and after some time like it will get fixed, fixed, and slowly it will be normal again. So here in this case, this is normal data and this is fault. Okay, but you won't be knowing it like but there is like some label like this, so where it will be known that like during this region there will be fault. Okay, so in case if such kind of thing is there, what you can do is you can make this as like normal data, right, and this one as clean data, and this you can call it as anomaly data. But if you train a classifier like instead, like in case now if these faults, right, you are not really sure whether your fault started here, because like actual fault will occur somewhere here. But till that point, like what will happen is it will say like it is normal, like only here it will say it is fault. But what you do is you will take like maybe some 1 hour before, till 1 hour before or something, you make that data as like fault data, treat it as fault data and keep it aside. Okay, and the rest of the data like you have it. And this, let us say this is a clean data, this is clean data, right? So for the model as an input, and you train this model, it can be like one class SVM, it can be like LOF factor, like anything, or isolation forest, any model, like we only train it with clean data and we'll get a Y. So this Y usually like in kind of outlier methods, right? So anomaly detection, like we'll be having zero, -1 or 1 in some cases, where or like 1 or 0 something. So this is how it is implemented right now. So where it is -1, it is clean data, and 1 can be anomaly data, something like that. So this actually differs with the implementation. You have to please check like implementation before doing it. So similarly for 1 plus SVM is also like that. So when it is 1, then let us treat it this way: 1 it is 1, it is anomaly; 1 it is 0, it is non-anomalous. So for this we are only training with clean data, which means like always for a clean data it should give -1. Okay, so now what we will do is, what this model will learn is how clean data will look like. So where clean data will, so you only train it with this data here, you don't train with this data, this you don't train, you only train it with this data. Then it will know your trained data, how its behavior will be like, it will learn that here. Okay, and then now what you'll give, like instead of giving this data, in case if you give this point and do a prediction model, if you do a prediction with the anomaly data, so what it should give is, it should detect as anomaly. Okay, so which means it should identify that this doesn't come under the training data distribution. So it has been trained with some kind of a data, and this is different from that kind of a data. Okay, that is what the intention behind. Let's say you have trained it with this distribution. So is the new data which is being trained, is it, will it fit under this distribution? That is what it is going to give. Okay, so we'll again do one project on this like in later stages. At that point, like we'll be knowing it much better. But as of now, this is what it will do. Like your model will learn like how your clean data will look like, and the data which you give, like apart from that, it will be treated as anomaly data. So which means, let us say you have trained your data in like 50, 55, 60, in this range, like all your data points are in this range, 53, 54, 55, something like this. So okay, and you trained a model with, showed this to a model and said that these are like positive data, and something like 110, or something like 5, something like 20. So these will be detected as anomaly data. So because you are setting up some kind of boundary that like your data, clean data will be like this, but your new data looks like quite different from that, right? So those will be detected as anomaly. Okay, so something like if it is 49 or something, so which was nearer to your data, right? So which was 50, which is quite closer to your data, this will be non-anomaly. Those data points like what we previously trained, so these will be detected as anomaly. So that is the difference between these things. So these are anomaly detection models. So there are like many other models apart from these, but these are quite commonly used. Okay, so this is one concept. Okay, let me also, I took this example, right, where you have this clean data and this one. Let me also talk about that. So now you have, so this is your clean data, right? And your abnormal data is something like this. So here, if you can see, okay, so initially we train with this data, with this to the model, and it will learn like your points will be within this range. So maybe 0 to 10. Okay, so it will learn that your points will be within this range and your behavior will be like this. So it won't increase drastically, so it will be in this way. And now what you give to the model is this for prediction. So here your range of values are wide, right? So from 10 it is going to something like 1000. Okay, so you're obviously like this is going out of a range, like in the like out of this training data range, right? So obviously it will detect as an anomaly. Apart from that, it will also look at the pattern. So is it like we can also give the pattern by giving like 2-3 data points at a time, right? So in that case, what will happen is it will be detected like seeing this abnormality. So this kind of sudden changes, like here it is very smooth, right? So it is almost flat. So but here it is suddenly changing like far. So in this case, like these will be detected as anomaly. Okay, this will be anomaly. And so because of that, like this is one use case where they'll use it for fault prediction. What they'll do is they will first they will employ this algorithm here. So and it will monitor this sensor values. If it is suddenly changing far, so they will alert saying that like this can now a fault can occur in soon, something like that. So like instead of a single sensor, they will take into account of multiple, some hundreds of sensor, like there are like thousands of sensors sometimes within one plant. So they will take those into consideration. Combining all that, like they will finally take consideration that this can be an anomaly, this is not an anomaly, something like that. Okay, so that is about like anomaly detection.